Everybody, it's Eric with Eric's Garage, and today we're going to be doing a little bit of work on the rear differential fluid. Yesterday I drained the fluid. I was going to do a video of it, but that can be pretty messy stuff, and the fluid is really stinky, so I didn't want it to splash up on the camera or anything else close by. But I'll show you basically what I did. But today I'm going to be filling the fluid before we go to work. It's pretty early this morning here, about 6:30 or so in Arizona. Anyhow, I'm going to use an OEM part, the Ford Motor Company. A lot of people say, oh, use aftermarket this, aftermarket that. You got to think of something here, just for a second. Ford Motor Company's been around for over 100 years, and they have more money in research and development and product development than many of these companies that have the super duper oils even have it as entire company value. So that's why I stick with OEM product for the most part when I work in my car, and I'm going to show you what I'm going to be putting in here. Motorcraft synthetic rear axle lubricant. Can you see that right there? Okay, it calls for 4 pints or 2 quarts, and then I have the Motorcraft additive friction modifier. You put the friction modifier in there first, so that you have that, and then you add oil to it. If you add this modifier last, chances are pretty good you're not going to get enough fluid in there to have this product actually work really well for you. And I have modified here a little turkey injector syringe, because you see the hose here? I'm gonna drop fluid here with this hose assembly. See that right there? Drop fluid up from this, because it doesn't have a spout like this that I can attach this hose to, draw it up and inject it into the back end of my rear differential. Sorry about the noise. That's the rear differential right there. So the fluid fill plug is back up on the back side. Sorry, the fill plug is on the back side of this. This is the rear differential here, and as you see, all the fluid has been drained out. I took brake parts cleaner and sprayed it all up inside of there to get all the extra gooby-doo out. And now what I'm doing is I'm taking a wire wheel, as you see here, I'm cleaning off the surface of the rear differential so it's a nice smooth surface. And then I'm going to take the rear differential cover, apply black RTV to it, and I'll show you that here in a second, and put it on there, and then hand tighten each one of these nuts all the way around the rear diff, and tighten them and then secure them. And there's a torque setting. I'm not familiar with the torque setting with all, so there's this what's called a mechanic's feel. When you feel it tight enough, which I have, you feel it tight enough, and you don't go beyond that because you don't want to strip it up, because if you strip this out, that involves having to re-tap it, and you don't want to necessarily do that. So I'm going to take a minute here and get to work on this. Alright, now you see, it's all pretty smooth right here. All that old gasket material's off of there, which is pretty cool. And what I'm going to do now is clean it out with some brake cleaner and apply RTV to the rear differential cover and put the screws in. So, be right back. Alright, now it's time for the brake cleaner. All out. All right, let that dry up a little bit. And now what we're going to do is put the RTV on the rear diff cover. All right, here is the rear differential cover. That's what you see from the outside of the car. And I have 3.73 gears in there, which is not a real aggressive rear gear ratio, but it's aggressive enough for me. And I take my car on autocross and road courses. I'm not a drag car guy, straight line racer. I race either on road courses and whatnot. So that gear setup is perfect for what I need. It gives me enough grunt to get me going without worrying about overdriving my RPMs and poor fuel economy on the occasion that I want to take it out on the street and just drive it. I'm using Ultra Black, Permatex Ultra Black sealant instead of a regular gasket, which I'm not really too fond of, but that's personal preference. You can use a gasket if you want to. I use Permatex Ultra Black, and I have it cut a little narrow. A lot of people like it bigger. I like it narrow because I believe I get a little bit more control of it. So start here, squeeze it down. I ended up having to cut a little bit larger hole. It was just taking forever to get that stuff on there. Here we go. It's pretty boring stuff, but you just want to make sure you get it all on there. What you want to do is have a complete seal. The last thing you want to do is have this rear differential fluid leak, because like I told you, it smells like monkey butt, and I think it actually smells a little worse than that. I think it's more along the lines of dead monkey butt. Really nasty smelling stuff, but it's very, very thick lubricant, and it's always undergoing a lot of stress and circulation and heat in your rear differential, because whenever you're moving the car forward or backward, your rear differential is moving. I don't know if you know the size of the gears in there, but they're pretty big gears too, pretty stout. I actually have an old gear set that I'll show y'all. Make sure I have enough on there. When you put the stuff on, you want to get it on, you want to apply it to your surface right away. So we're going to scoot and get that applied right away. All right, here we go. We're going to make our first attempt at getting that on there without spilling and spreading the RTV everywhere. Orient. There we go. There we go. Much better. All right, nasty stuff. Get two lined up, and the rest of the ones are going to go on just fine for you. And there was enough RTV gasket material on that so that I'm not worried about a little bit that fell off. And again, working upside down and backwards isn't the easiest, but I like doing my own stuff in my own car. All right, I'm going to show the cross mogenation, I call it. Snug. Over here. Snug. Here. Snug. Getting that mechanics feel. You know when it's just tight enough. You don't want to get any tighter. You can cause some strippage issues with it. Now I'm going to go through all the way around it. All the way around. All the way around. Check. Check. And this one again. Alright. I'm very, very happy with that. With the results of that right now. I want to get this RTV off of here. Alrighty. Weebie is all set for that part. Now I'm going to come and I'm going to take a minute and show you the ring and pinion gear that I removed from the car. Alright, remember I told you I use just Ford product as much as I can. The rear differential, the ring and pinion gear, are Ford Racing performance parts, actually from Ford Motor Company. This is it here. There's a bearing right here. This is your pinion gear right here. See how it's kind of weird shape? Check that out. All right. And that engages like this with the ring gear, and that's your ring gear. Okay, this gear is what rotates.
this way in your rear differential, and this rotates this way in your rear differential. And the gear pattern is what allows that to happen. And here's a bearing. Yeah, kind of banging out a little bit, I guess. But anyhow, that's the old gear assembly out of my car. These were 331 gears, which is a taller gear. What taller gear means is that it doesn't have enough low end grunt, is what I was looking for, but it allows for better fuel economy on the roads and highways and byways of America. And I went with a higher end, or a shorter gear, a 373 gear, as I mentioned, for a little bit better performance for the kind of driving that I do. But anyhow, I'm going to advocate again. Ford Racing, they've been around over 100 years and they win races. And if you guys pay attention to any kind of road racing at all, where you have a lot of Mustangs, and also the 2017 Ford GT that won Le Mans and won Daytona, and came in on podium finishes at Sebring and are doing really well this year again, Ford's where it's at.